So what does wellness mean now that we're in our 40s, our 50s, beyond?
I definitely think it's a more expanded thing than it was before. I think health and wellness came down to how many pounds and inches could I lose in our 20s and 30s, like 100%.
Remember Slim Fast?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
remember all the talks? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, totally.
Fen was I think it was I don't know if
Isn't it like
it was
an upper or something?
prescription. Yes. It would, and they had to like take it off the market because they're like, no, this is not
People
good
were having
for
heart
women.
attacks.
For sure. But remember Dexatrim? Same thing.
Oh
basically.
my God. Yeah. It's basically like licensed speed.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of wellness is bigger than that narrow little definition we had ages ago. It's about making smart choices and, not chain smoking all day long and, drinking bourbon. But I mean, if that's how you want to go out, like you do you. But I also think it's a bigger picture. Like, what do you want for yourself?
Welcome to Drinks with the Girls. Conversations for women over 40 around connection, change, and the power of female friendship. Living well with stories to tell. I'm Karen, and this is Lisa.
We are moms and solopreneurs stepping into our own, diving into real conversations about things that matter to women in midlife.
We're here to spill the tea on everything that affects women in their 40s and beyond. Topics like loss and grief, changing relationships, launching kids, menopause, and reinventing ourselves in midlife. We are here to tackle it all.
Connect with us through a blend of our lived experiences, our friendship, the memory of our moms, plus a collection of real stories, honest conversations, and engaging interviews that will make women over 40 feel seen and remind them that they're not alone on this journey called life. Let's go.
Welcome back to another episode of Drinks with the Girls. It is almost time to ring in the new year. What do you have planned? Right? Where's our party hats?
Probably, likely more than not staying up till midnight. I'll just say that. We'll see.
Samesies. And today we are going to talk about that age-old phrase we've heard, new year, new you, and what you think about it. I have some thoughts about it. But before we really get into it, today I'm drinking my little mini can of Squirt. I was so excited about my slice I had on our holiday cooking episode that I am just sticking with the retro sodas, and
I like the
drinking
retro.
my Squirt. What do you have?
I was trying to find Slice and Squirt. Like, I never do like soda search, and I haven't been able to find it. I don't know if it's just not made it up to Podunk, Oregon, and like all the beautiful people in LA can just enjoy the Slice, but haven't been able to find it. So of course that makes me want it even more. And I'm damned if I'm in a mail order soda. They're like, order yours today. I'm like, okay, I draw the line at like Amazoning soda to my house. That just seems next level weird, but we'll see. My family went for a Trader Joe's run yesterday because I'm going to be out of town, and that's kind of what we decided to do. So I was like, okay, get this, and this. My husband was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I need drinks for the show. Come on. He's like, oh, okay. So I am drinking Trader Joe's branded tangerine probiotic sparkling beverage. Looks like this, and it's good. It's more flavor than a sparkling water, but I would say less flavor, like sugar sweet, than a soda. But it's good. It's good. And,
Nice.
Probiotics. Yay.
Love me some tangerine flavor.
Yeah, I do. I like it too. Citrus in the winter is my fave. Anywho,
we're going to talk about how midlife women are reclaiming wellness. So when we think about New Year, New You, and how you feel about that, we're going to talk about how midlife women are grabbing the reins of their health, of their longevity, of their strength, of their vitality, and really charging forward. Because honestly, we're done with the bullshit.
there's some articles we're going to talk about because it's definitely changed. It's not this like, hey, I'm going to lose 50 pounds by February thing anymore. Or conversely, I'm going to do these 50 life-altering things by February, and like the resolutions piece, I don't know, that always just, I feel like that just kind of sets you up for failure. Like, I'm going to resolve that I'm going to do something that I've never done before successfully right away starting the new year with zero support and 100% willpower. Like, what about that seems like it's not destined to fail?
Yeah, I think by this time, hopefully, we all realize that resolutions are just, not the way to help us reach our goals, and certainly not the way to help us feel better, because what was the stat we talked about on our last New Year's episode? I think it's like less than 10%
Yep.
of resolutions come to
Sounds about
fruition.
right.
So
Sounds about right. And again, it's like, I think we talked about habits and stuff at one point on an episode. This has stretched us. Guys, it's getting to the point where we're like, did we do an episode on that already? Which is kind of exciting and just annoying at the same time, to be honest. So, plug for sending us topics. But yes, absolutely. So, what we're going to focus on today is really about the health piece and kind of what that looks like now that we're over the whole lose 50 pounds by February kind of thing. So, are you noticing this with your clients? I always feel like you have a little like petri dish of like information because you have this like focus group built into what you do. So, are women talking to you about this? Are you noticing a change? Like, what are you seeing?
I notice a change in terms of what comes across my feed, my social media, and like we talk about a lot on this podcast, it's like women are just talking about it more. And I think the Gen Zs, maybe the younger millennials, who are really diving headfirst into cutting away all the BS that we've been taught in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s that were so toxic and so bad for us. So I think we're finally starting to see the alternatives there. And then certainly you have the midlife, unquote, influencers, the Marie Claire Havers, the Jen Gunthers, the JJ Virgins, who, are really just showing us and helping about midlife and what that means and what it means to be healthy in midlife, really. And as far as real people, that I know, my clients, I think even though we know in our brain these new ways of thinking, I think it's really, really hard to unhook from the conditioning, like we talk about a lot.
Totally.
It's hard to look in the mirror, and if you are not, a size 4, to not have some feelings and thoughts about it. Or if you are noticing your wrinkles, or if you're noticing your cute little belly that might hang over your pants.
So here's something funny. So y'all remember the episode that we did for celebrating the twins? We have a continuing series that we did in October. We talked to Dr. Christine Cole Morgan, who is a breast cancer oncological, I don't even know how to say it, surgeon. So I had an appointment with her recently in a checkup, and we caught up about the podcast and all sorts of stuff. And she's a fan, which is super cool. But so she's doing her thing and she's examining me and she's like, are you doing your 5 days? And I was like, well, and out came the excuses. She goes, I have to tell you, it's so obnoxious because of course I have to ask my clients that. And in the same time, my self-talk is, you're such a freaking hypocrite. You didn't do yours. Why are you asking your clients? And I was like, I love that you were able to say that. That is just so real. I mean, it's definitely a lot more doable. And for me personally, like ever since that episode, I've been trying to do that. But it's also like injury and back problems. And I just feel like I get like a rhythm going and then, so it's hard to kind of get into a routine. But I definitely say, like for me at least, that seems like a doable goal to like reach for every week, right? It's like, I'm not talking about hours in the gym or whatever. 5 times a week, 3 cardio, 2 strength. Or is it the other way around? No, I think it's 3 cardio, 2 strength. Like, it's definitely more realistic. So I'm personally not heading into the new year like, hey, I'm going to like run a freaking marathon. Like, God bless you if you are. That's not anywhere near my bingo card. But I don't think I'm alone.
You're not alone. And also, by the time we get to this stage in life, first of all, we're freaking exhausted from sucking in our belly or whatever we need to do in order to feel like we're fitting the beauty standard, which is impossible to fit, by the way. So I think a big part of it is our mindset shift and how we just think about ourselves and think about how we want to show up in the world and think about what we look like. And I would like to feel like we are done working for the male gaze, like being so obsessed and worried about getting a man's attention, or, is this thing I'm wearing going to get me noticed?
Yep.
Right.
Or just the attention of someone else, right? It doesn't have to be a gender thing. It's, the having our motivation be exterior, i.e. how other people look at us. Like, I still feel that's there, but I feel like if you're going to put in the adjectives like healthy, strong, like longevity, that's a noun, that's not an adjective. I know the difference. Yes. Versus like skinny might still be in there, but I think the improvement I've seen is those other nouns, adjectives, whatever the hot dog you want to call them, seem to come first in line, which I think is a big shift, right? I mean, because that's really looking at it as, how can I make my body last long? How can I make it healthier? How do I give myself quality of life versus I need to be 90 pounds? I don't think we're over that. I mean, I still think that that's a really hard monkey to get off our backs, but I do think it's not the end all and be all anymore, which is kind of nice.
I agree. I think it is kind of nice. I just think there's, at least for me, there's always this conversation that goes on in my head. And when I notice things pop into my head that are not in my best interest and things that I have, been conditioned to feel or think or say, I have to catch myself and I have to replace it. Even just the verbiage that we use is so powerful. And I also am at this point where it's like, I don't give a fuck anymore. I mean, that's not 100% true. I do kind of give a fuck a little bit, because when I do dress up to go somewhere or, try to look nice, I do care what other, not so much men, but what other women think. I want my friends to think I look cute.
Or just, how about just feel comfortable and cute in your own skin? Like, that's fine too, I mean, I've, like, my mom's voice just popped into my head right now, because she was always just like, why don't you put a little lipstick and blush on? And I'm like, oh my freaking God, Mom, like, seriously with this, I mean, and I have to remember that was her conditioning, but that was definitely something we fighting seems like an oversimplification of it, but we definitely butted heads about that. Like, she brought all that up at times when I was like, that is like the last thing I'm worried about right now. I'm just trying to survive, Mom. And like, putting a little lipstick and blush on is more of a pain in the ass than an inspiration at this point.
Yeah, my mom wasn't, I mean, she was like a hippie dippy. And so I didn't really get messages from her like that. And I mean, she wasn't a fashionista herself. So sorry, I'm just thinking about her. It makes me smile. She used to just love like wearing, what do they call it? Like cruise wear. I think that's
like
the
lounge
term for it.
wear. That's hilarious.
Well,
like
not lounge
and
wear.
stuff.
Not so much muumuus, but really bold colors, like prints. Really
I remember that about her. Yep.
Colors. And this was like probably more in her like 40s, in her later years, but just like she wanted to just make a bold statement, which I'm here for.
Yeah. And then there was my mom who had like 50 shades of taupe. Like, literally, when I was getting married, she's like, well, what color do you want me to wear? I was literally like, anything but beige. You show me beige, we're going to have a problem. Like, some color to it. Because that was her thing, right? Is just kind of blending in the background and not standing out. And it used to drive me nuts.
I'm thinking about like ways that I've kind of changed, because when I was in my 40s, I got really into, I was really into surfing. I got really into working out, like crazy person. And it was because, I was filling a void. And I know I've had a chance to look back on all that. It was therapy for me, actually. And I've never been in better shape in my life. Like, I was muscular. I was strong. I was thin, but I was strong. And I'm not strong anymore. I'm I'm soft and I'm squishy, and so I compare myself to that version of me, and I tend to not be so nice to myself,
Yeah.
you know? And so I think for me, I'm not so much fighting with the patriarchy anymore, but I'm fighting with myself, like my own
Yeah.
things that I tell myself.
Yeah.
And I've tried to make small changes. Like I try to get out of the house and walk every day. We have great hills in my neighborhood, so I like to just walk and feel my butt burner hills. Yeah, and I keep trying to add strength training, but that hasn't happened yet. So TBD. My name is Karen Shatafian, and I am a shameless coffee addict and empowerment coach for women, and my love language is authenticity. My mission is helping women unapologetically design a life they're in love with. Because what the hell are we waiting for? My website, KarenShatafian.com, has all my coaching packages and free offers like my Midlife Reclamation Guide. In it, you'll find tools to help you decide how to create the most inspired and empowered version of yourself and your life. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram talking about ways women can show up for themselves after decades of showing up for everyone else. Join me as we throw off the shackles and live our best freaking lives. See the show notes for all the details. Cheers.
This time of year is hard in Oregon because it's really like gloomy and dark. And there are members of my Oregon posse that can be out there in the pouring rain and hiking and do it. That is just not my jam. And that is definitely where my Southern California upbringing like stares me in the face. It's just not pleasant to me at all. But, I've got a treadmill right here and I have some strength training stuff. So I have some things that I like to do that I'm comfortable with doing. One of my frustrations has been I want to get back to doing dance again. And there's a lot of like adult hip hop and stuff in town that I really want to do. But I've just, ever since my surgery, my body it's taken so long for me to get not even in shape, but just to be pain free. And I'm dealing with something with my neck right now that really can mess my back up. And I'm not at all ready to be like, yeah, I guess I can't do that anymore. Like I'm not even willing to go there, Hopefully I'm not being delusional, but a lot of that typical dance stuff, it's not like ballet. You use your head a lot in different spaces. So I don't know. It's a goal I have, but I don't know like how committed I am to it. I really just kind of want to be pain free and able to move. And that's for me the strength thing. Like I don't look at myself and be like, I want to look like freaking, I don't know, whoever a swimsuit supermodel is. That's not what it's about, but I do want to be stronger. I do. When I see mushy, it's not really about like, ew, gross. It's more about like, I feel like I need to be stronger. Like I want to have the muscle tone that I had before. I don't feel like I can lift or do things that I used to because I'm still getting used to. I mean, my God, it was over 2 years ago, for heaven's sakes. And I'm still like, there's still stuff that I'm trying to get back to doing.
Aging itself contributes to that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe had I stayed in that exercise regimen that I was in, 5 years ago, not even 5, I'm 7, hello, 10 years ago. I mean, obviously I would be stronger. I would feel stronger. So I think getting back I feel like it's harder because I am 57.
Yeah.
I'm not 42.
Yeah.
And I feel my joints, And the thing that has really made me want to focus on getting stronger is being a grandma.
Yeah.
Lifting up my grandbabies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not always easy. And I'm very aware that if I do something wrong, if I pick somebody up and do a little twist or something, I could jack myself.
The hokey pokey is not happening.
And I don't want that. And, honestly, I have, because Tony and I live kind of out in the boonies, we don't always go places and get out and, do things. And I have these flashes of fears that we are going to just become these sedentary old people.
Totally.
And I told myself I would never do that because I saw my grandmother have so many health issues, and she was tall and thin, but she was sedentary. She did not move her body. She did not exercise. And I saw what that did to her mobility in her later years. And I don't want that.
Yeah, for sure. And that's definitely like the fear factor hanging over me. Like I see where my dad's at and everything. And so, And I think that's a difference now, right? Like before, the exercise motivation was like skinny, get strong. Now I definitely think there's a fear motivator in there as well. And I think it's just being realistic and understanding that like you cannot let things calcify, like, because the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. So for me, I think it's making the time and committing to the right things in life when I have 60,000 balls in the air. And I get it. Like that should be the first thing, but it's usually the last thing. And I haven't really figured out a good way to make that happen.
When it is something that is fun, like you have to find something that is that at least you enjoy. Like it can't be like you said, running a marathon. That sounds awful.
Hell no.
Running that much.
Hell no.
And not that you're going to love it all the time. You still are going to need a level of discipline. And I think that's what it is. It's the discipline. It's the discipline. And it's also okay with having it not be the way that we think it should be or the way it used to be. Like you with dance, for me with, working out, strength training. I don't want to say never, but doubtful I would ever get back to that level.
Yeah.
But I have to be okay with what I can get to.
Yep, for sure. And everybody there's still stretch goals around that. But it's interesting because there's a lot of opposites, I feel like, that are cropping up at this point because we just understand the science more, right? Like it's not about losing weight to look good. I mean, that might be like an after effect, but it's really about like we know so much more about strength and muscle tone and like what that means. Like for women, literally like their bones carrying their muscle. Like that's why bone density and all that is so important. Like I remember when I was talking to my HRT person and we were talking about potentially having me go on estrogen, I was like, well, tell me like what else it does. She goes, like the health benefits are through the roof. I mean, it's unbelievable how many things having supplemental estrogen touches, from skin to bone density to like heart health to skin health, like on and on and on and on. Because if you think about it, it's the hormone of youth, at least where females are concerned. So yeah, that's something I've been thinking about.
It's interesting. I was thinking the other day, because I went into ChatGPT and I had her make me a health and wellness plan.
Like I've done that too. I did that with my 5-day thing. And it took a few things, but I was like, oh, this is great. I like this.
It's just so amazing because you can, just have this back and forth. And when it does things you don't want, you revisit it. So listeners, if you haven't played around with AI with something like this, I encourage you to. But I was thinking about how, in the 80s and in the 90s and really, before we had access to anything at our fingertips, you would have to go to the bookstore, buy a book, go to the library, or read a magazine.
Mm-hmm. That's where magazines were in their heyday because that was kind of the emails of today, right? Like the email newsletters of today, because that's where you got the newest stuff, right? That and newspapers.
Yeah. And then of course you had Jacqueline Lane and what was the other guy? Richard Simmons.
Yep.
Jane Fonda and her cute little thong, leotard, whatnot. But the thing that is hard, the thing that's good and not good about having so much information is that you get mixed messages. Yeah. It's hard to wade through the stuff that you hear out there because you can hear contrary opinions everywhere. So it's hard to know what to do and what not to do.
Yeah. And I definitely still stand by my kind of thing that I've said on the podcast before that, if your general practitioner is not talking to you about hormone therapy, find someone that is, because it's so different than when our moms were kind of our age. It's not an excuse anymore. The research has found that hormones are so important when you start aging, just in terms of the lack thereof, or too much. It's usually too little. I talk about my husband's story, what he suffered with until we realized it was a testosterone deficiency. And I'm on 3 of them now, and I get it. It's not always appropriate for everybody, but I do feel like a well-rounded practitioner these days has to at least know what the latest findings are about hormones and when to refer a patient and when to talk to them about it. It's no longer this like weird specialty or like you need an endocrinologist. Like you might if it's something really complicated, but I just think that that's like vitamins and other stuff now. Like that's how much it needs to be talked about.
I mean, it's definitely worth an in-depth conversation for sure.
Yeah.
So what is one thing that you are looking toward or you're calling in?
I do think the working out thing, and it's not so much like a goal setting thing, is finding a natural rhythm for that, right? Like, I don't have the kind of time where I can go to the gym. Like, every once in a while, I'll go with my son because he's got a membership. But it really, for me, has to be home based because I'm not going to do it with any regularity. I kind of hibernate in the winter. I really don't like to go outside. I mean, when we go on vacation in the winter, like, it's like, oh, sun, right? But otherwise, that's just not my jam. So I think I've gotten to the point where I have some realistic ideas and stuff that works for me. It's just a matter of fitting that in a way that makes sense. And I tend to be that person that it's like once I lock onto something, I'm just and all of a sudden I look up and it's 5 o'clock. And so I know about myself that I have to build it in. I have to be able to do that. But it's very, very hard for me. Like I said, once I plug into something to be like, oh, okay, it's 12 o'clock or whatever, stop for lunch or whatever, work out. And I know that's not a good thing. So I think in my mind, it's really about figuring out a way to be okay with pausing during the day and do something like that, sitting down and eating rather than like just scarfing something up before my next meeting. Being on my treadmill when I'm just like doing emails or whatever, I don't do that well at all. And I'd like to be able to get a little better at that. How about you?
Same. I am thinking about my little conversation with ChatGPT and, she was very encouraging.
She is.
She told me I didn't have to give up all the things I love. I didn't
I
have
love
to,
that.
it was very supportive and very, I felt very good about it. When I think about the fear of growing older and not being strong,
Yeah.
not being mobile, that gives me a little motivation. I mean, I know how I want to feel.
Mm-hmm.
I know how I want to look, even though I've come so far with how I look, and how I talk to myself about how I look. But I definitely want to feel better, healthier.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely I was visiting my aunt and uncle, gosh, like a month or so ago, maybe 6 weeks now. And, my uncle is slowing down. He needs a knee operation. He's really sedentary. My aunt is out like playing pickleball and walking and doing this and that. I mean, and you can definitely tell there's a difference, So it's just hard because I think if we put this into such a big picture kind of thing, it's a little bit overwhelming. Like, hey, you've got to stem the tide or whatever. So for me, I think it's about figuring out little ways I can be better to myself and support my health and wellness every day rather than just like, okay, we're going to do this complete overhaul and this and that. Like, to me, that's just, it's never going to happen.
You can't be successful when you do a complete overhaul. It has to be small changes deliberately. And
Yep.
I found that when I really started walking more, I had made a decision, gosh, I don't know, 6 months, a year ago, that I was just going to walk.
Yeah.
It was hard because I know if I don't do it first thing in the morning,
then you find excuses.
It's harder and harder to do. So I just immediately, I put my leggings and my workout sports bra and clothes on. So, okay, I'm ready. Because my brain works the best in the morning. And I know that that's the best time for me to do business tasks, create content, have client calls, but I can't do them both.
Yep.
So I would just write it in my calendar at like 12 o'clock. And believe me, in July and August, that sucked when it was 100 degrees.
Yep.
But I did it. And then I would jump in the pool right after I'd come home. I would be a sweaty, hot mess. And I would just literally strip my clothes off and in my panties and sports bra, hop in the pool.
Nice.
And And then I started loving that actually. I started looking forward to it. But so I think, thinking outside of the box and
Yeah.
being just telling yourself, I am going to do this. I am doing it. I'm putting it in my calendar.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it for some reason, you can't beat yourself up about it. You just have
Yeah.
to get on the again the next day.
Hey there, I'm Lisa Coricella McDowell, your midlife Pacific Northwest princess, here to guide you in the art of next leveling your life. I'm passionate about women's health and wellness in midlife, especially for moms parenting kids with unique needs like I do. I truly believe we can learn, grow, advocate, and care for the planet while taking care of ourselves and our families. And I'd love to help you do the same. And I'm beyond excited to tell you about my membership for maxed out mamas just like me, the Empowered Parent Collective. It's a space for parents to confidently advocate for their kids, build inclusive communities, educate themselves, and find balance and support along the way. To find out more about the Empowered Parent Collective, my classes, wellness offerings, parenting tips, advocacy resources, and exclusive Drinks with the Girls goodies, head to nextlevellifewithlisa.com. Let's survive and thrive in the messy middle together.
I definitely think the time blocking thing is super helpful. And again, it's just that hyper focus thing with me. And it's like, oh, I just need to finish this. And then all of a sudden it's, 4:00. So I have to figure out a way of kind of interrupting that pattern and figuring out where the dopamine hit is going to come from, because I don't even know if it's dopamine, but my brain just locks on and can't stop. And when I tell it to, okay, it's time to pause, it just doesn't do that naturally. So I know it's really messed up. So yeah, I mean, in
Oh,
terms of goals, like that is something I'd like to be able to do, is start helping my brain figure out that taking a break is not the worst thing in the world.
but I think just recognizing that that's how your brain
Yeah.
works is the first step, right? And so much pushing against it, but figuring out, okay, how can I work with this? And I am an absolute freak about the new year. Like it is, I just get giddy when I think about it, because if it's a fresh slate, like it's an opportunity for us to, keep the past year behind us and look forward and decide, who do I want to be? What do I want to change? And, like you said earlier, like not a total overhaul. Like we're fabulous the way we are, but what little tweaks can we make to make the new year a little better, to become the women that we want to be?
I
I
like that
think,
because it's so much more growth mindset, rather than like, this is what I want to accomplish, right? It's that whole gap gain thing. Like that's living in the gap.
the alternative to the growth mindset, like what that, that's the hustle and grind culture. And what has that done for women? Nothing.
Yep.
Help us be more burnout and exhausted and crabby. So I think just tapping into that energy as we go into the new year, no matter if it's health goals or what, or what we're just who we want to be, what we want to change.
So
Maybe not.
let me ask you the opposite of that. What do you think is one thing specifically related to health, wellness, well-being, yourself, that you felt like you improved on this year? That's it could be a habit or just something you've been wanting to do that you feel like you did well this year.
I think really embracing aging, just realizing, I'm not going to look younger. I'm not going to feel younger. I'm going to feel the age I'm at, and that hopefully that's a very strong version of myself. But I just had to get rid of the idea that I had to chase youth. It's like, no, I'm 57 and I'm happy to be 57. And I've done a lot of work on looking at my wrinkly parts, my squishy parts, the parts that have zero tone, the parts that have the cellulite. So I think I have been extremely successful in basically just loving myself more.
That's awesome.
How about you?
I think that I have started moving again without being afraid that it's going to hurt. Because I was just so stuck in that after the surgery for the longest time, because it just hurt. Everything hurt, and my movement was just so restricted. And it still happens. Like I said, I'm going through this neck thing right now, but I'm not afraid of it. Whereas before I was just like, oh God, no, that's gonna hurt this, and it just made me it was hard to push through that. Like that was a lot of work to do all the physical therapy and stuff to really kind of get me where I needed to be. Because it wasn't just the breast reduction, it was also just having a lot of extra weight on that. I mean, yeah, I wanted to look better, but the primary motivator was honestly to give my joints a break and get my mobility back. Like that was the big motivator and all that. So I definitely think I kind of cracked the code on that. Now I think that I want to look for a way of being consistent. Sounds like a drum major, but more just being able to incorporate it in ways that are more regular than I'm doing right now. Like I don't have this fantasy that I'm going to do the 5-day workout like every week, no problem, no fail. Like I know that's ridiculous, but I would like to have more regularity to it for sure. And I've still been experimenting with times, right? Like, is it first thing in the morning? Like I know last thing is not destined for success. Although if I take a dance class, then that's when it's going to have to be. I've done yoga midday with the class. I've done first thing in the morning. And I tend to think that probably midday is the sweet spot for me because I can feel like I've accomplished something. I know like what my day is looking like. So really the trick to that is like, can you incorporate the break? Like, can you get consistent about incorporating the break? And that's probably my biggest struggle right now.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Can we look at consistency, that word consistency, not as necessarily a bad word?
I don't know if I think it's a bad word, but I think what I'm saying is I don't want it to feel like, I missed one day of my 5-day workout. I suck, right? So not like military precision consistency is what I'm saying. I want a sweeter, gentler, kinder consistency, right? Like I'm doing it. I'm improving. I'm doing it more every week. Like that's kind of what I'm going for. Not the like, hey, I'm, just roboting this off. I don't even know if that's a word, but it is. It is now. I made it a word.
It is now.
Let it be.
That'll be on a t-shirt. For me, the consistency is the piece. And it doesn't I mean, it's not sexy. It's not glamorous, right? It's right up there with, what's that? What's that other word?
Today on Word Finding with Drinks with the Girls.
I'm not even drinking tonight. Accountability.
I was about ready to like start word vomiting out there till you came to it.
No, accountability. It's not fun. It's not sexy, but that's how we learn to trust ourselves.
Okay.
Is through the consistency.
Hold up. Okay. Because I remember we had this whole conversation and you're like, Lisa, you hate the word accountability and no, it's a good thing. And you just backed off of that. You were like, well, I don't know about accountability. So it's
no, I'm not backing off at all.
Okay. All right.
I'm doubling down.
Alrighty.
Because when you're accountable to yourself, right? And you show up for yourself, you're consistent, you do the things that you're going to do. That's how you trust yourself more. That's how you learn you can do hard things. You can get up at 7 a.m. and go work out before you've been quote unquote productive or gotten anything done.
Yeah. And I like the idea of being accountable to myself. I think the word accountability implies I have to check off the box for somebody else. And that's the one that is more icky to me.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I like I want to be accountable to myself because that frames it more as I am honoring and respecting myself by making this a goal and setting aside the time for this.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, who else matters? Being accountable to nobody else matters but you.
Yeah. And I mean, my mornings are getting easier now that I have teenagers. It's not that freaking nightmare chaos that it is when they're in elementary school. And it's just hell on toast to get everybody out the door in one piece. Like that's definitely better. But I do also think there's some PTSD for me left over from that era of like, if I start it, I'm not going to be able to finish it. And then I can't come back to it. Whereas midday, there's more of a chance of me doing it uninterruptedly. but I definitely have some work to do because like thinking about that right now, it's like, well, what if something comes up in the morning? Like that's like, okay, well, that's usually when shit hits the fan at work. Like, you know, so I got to think about that. I'm not sure.
Or you just set yourself up for success and you say, okay, at 12:30,
Yeah.
after I've checked boxes,
Yep.
I'm going to go do this. And then you have to do it. Like that's the hardest part is doing it.
Yeah, for sure. And I've had some success. One of the things I did this week, because I've got a lot of deadlines and things like that I have to hit timing wise, is I set a bunch of alarms. And it can be annoying, but it also helps. I found it freeing because then I don't have to worry about it, right? Like if the alarm goes off, it's like, okay, I got to post this story. Okay, I got to do this, da da da. Like that's helpful. So I do think that that is a way that I can, if I just block it in my calendar every day, you know, and the alarm goes off.
Yeah, I think, some people really respond well to that kind of structure. They don't do well with things that come up if it just derails them and it's like, oh, well, I didn't get it done, then,
Yeah.
then it's over. But yeah, I love that alarm. How do you know which alarm's for what though?
Oh, because you can create the name of the alarm.
Oh, whoa.
Yes. I mean,
Fancy.
this phone that I do this on is an Android. But I'm sure it's the same thing in iPhone, or you can get an app or whatever. But, for me, it's hilarious because what I love most of all is to be able to like do a task continuously without an interruption, which is like impossible, right? And so I get annoyed when I'm like interrupted. Well, hello, there's a world out there, Coricello. That's a little delusional, So
Wait, I'm not the only one that sits down to do one thing and then I end up like four blocks this way.
Right? Sandworms from Dune. It's coming up again. Hooks.
That's exactly
down south. And it's just like, wait a minute. All I wanted to do was wake up and accomplish this. And it's 12 o'clock. And all I've done is this, and this. And none of it had anything to do with me. Like that's hard for me not to be really annoyed and pissed off about.
Yeah, I think working from home makes it difficult, and also having a phone, since you and I run businesses, we have to be on the phone to do
totally
things. And I think those two things make it extremely hard to go from point A to point B without getting sidetracked.
No, totally. And people will say, just shut your phone off. And I definitely think there's a time and place for that. I haven't quite gotten to the point where I don't pick up my phone in the morning and be like, okay, what do I need to do? Because like I got too many balls in the air. So I need to like figure it all out. But I do think like there's sometimes when I've just like turned off my phone when I'm trying to complete a task where I'm like, I cannot have like 50,000 email dings going off every 5 seconds. I mean, there's definitely something to be said for you have to silence the noise at some point or you're never going to get anything done because you'll be like, what's going on,
Oh, I don't have it. I have 0 notifications, although I don't have a boss that might be trying to get a hold of me. But I have no notifications, and mostly my ringer is off, which drives my family insane. Especially when I lose my phone and I ask Tony, can you call me? And he's like, is your ringer on? No. You got to listen for the vibration.
Where's my vibrate?
Right?
My mom can beat that. It made me crazy every time. Voicemail, right? This is back in the day because she didn't text. This is kind of before texting got hip. Leave it. Hey, so just give me a call. Like it's no big deal. Da 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 da. Okay, call me back. Bye. And so I'd call back, and she'd shut her phone off. It's like, Mom, why? Well, I didn't want to like lose juice. I was like, oh, okay, but you literally like called me a minute ago, and so how am I supposed to return your phone call if you got your phone shut? And of course, she would never check her voicemail, so it drove all of us batshit crazy because that was just. And then she'd forget that she turned it off. Call me.
That's awesome.
It made me crazy.
Okay, quick pause. Have we talked about the Pod Squad lately?
Oh, the Pod Squad. You mean our email list /VIP lounge /digital wine club?
Exactly. So listeners, if you're not on it yet, you're basically making life harder for yourself when it comes to podcasts.
Like trying to scroll for show notes while speed walking on a treadmill. Wait, what was that link again? Oh, no. Grab the side rails.
Or pulling up that book we mentioned while you're in the Starbucks line and then realizing everybody else moved up 3 cars and now you're that woman.
We've all been there. That's why we made the Pod Squad. You'll get new episode alerts every week with direct links. Easy to listen, easy to share.
And show notes straight to your inbox. So when we drop a life-changing product, book, hot tip, or yummy new drink, you're not rummaging through your memory like a woman searching for her reading glasses when they're on top of her head.
It's organized, it's helpful, it's for you, babes.
So join the Pod Squad. The link is in the show notes. Just tap it.
Snacks, sarcasm, solidarity.
And obviously, fighting the patriarchy.
We write at dawn.
So what does wellness mean now that we're in our 40s, our 50s, beyond?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a more expanded thing than it was before. Like, I think health and wellness came down to, like, how many pounds and inches could I lose? Like, in our 20s and 30s, like 100%. That, and now, granted, right, when you're 20 and 30, you don't have to worry about this stuff as much, right? Like, you're back in the I'm invincible and I'll be young forever kind of point, right? So I think that's part of it. But I do think the vision expands with those decades for sure as to what that really means.
I think in terms of weight, I disagree because I studied in Salzburg, Austria for a semester when I was in college and I gained 20 pounds because,
Well, it's Salzburg, Austria. Hello.
Right?
Pastries for breakfast and chocolate to die for.
Yes. And cheese and yes, deliciousness and beer, by the way.
Oh my
and
God. Like, I don't see
chocolate.
the problem. Yeah.
Yes. So when I came back, guess what I did? Remember Slim Fast?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
remember all the talks? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, totally.
What was it? Fen,
Oh,
Slim Fast.
Slim
some
Fast, I
other
remember.
beauties.
Fen is like ringing a bell, but it's not coming back to me.
Fen was I think it was I don't
Isn't
know
it
if
like
it was
an upper or something?
prescription. Yes. It would, and they had to like take it off the market because they're like, no, this is not
People
good.
were having
for
heart
women.
attacks.
For sure. But remember Dexatrim? Same thing.
Oh
Basically.
my God. Yeah. It's basically like licensed speed.
Speed. Mm-hmm. For sure.
I read the biography of Judy Garland and like, oh my God, talk about a sad thing. But she literally like, for like the last decade of her life, she needed like uppers to get going in the morning and downers to calm down. And her husbands were like trying to, at various different times, obviously stop her from doing that. She would literally get the studio to sew the pills into her costumes so she could get access to them. That's how bad it was. I know.
Damn.
Isn't that horrible and sad?
So sad.
Yeah. So I definitely think we have a broader horizon now in terms of wellness. And I think back, like, again, to my mom, like, she was stick thin skinny. And so everybody equated that with, oh, she's so healthy. Well, come to find out, not so much. And come to find out, we now know there's a direct correlation between what she was eating and what she eventually passed away from. So, I mean, to me, that's a really stark example of the differences, right? It was Renee skinny. She can do whatever she wants. And oh, that's so cute. She has desserts every night and pie and whipped cream. And now it's like, oh my God, if she just would have stopped doing those things on such a regular basis, like every frickin' night, who knows? And I don't go down that dark place very often, but I do think it's a very stark example of the kind of things, the kind of sea change that's happened in the wellness field, I think, in the last, 15, 20 years.
Yeah. I don't know if my mom, like I'm thinking if my mom had the internet and she had access to all the things that we have access to, I wonder if anything would have been different for her because she was not a healthy person. She did not exercise. She was overweight, and now I realize a lot of that had to do with perimenopause and menopause.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't eat well. She drank wine every night. And so she just didn't really do much to help. And she didn't have regular checkups. So I just am curious if having access to the information would have changed anything because it didn't seem that important to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she died of cancer.
Yeah.
So I tell myself, I'm not going to be that way. I'm not going to be sedentary. I'm not going to eat like crap. I'm not going to drink daily.
Yep.
And I see I tend to have some of those habits. Like I don't eat as well as I used to. I don't drink every day. And I try to move my body. I'm trying to be more deliberate about moving my body. Having access to like different alternatives to what wellness really is, I think, you know, it lets all women decide how they want to adapt different, you know, strategies into their own life.
Well, and it's interesting because, you know, my whole long rant about like getting myself in more regular movement, one of the things I have been successful at, which is interesting because it's more of an addiction than anything else, is really breaking the sugar hold. I mean, I've never been like my mom where I needed like dessert and sweets all the time. My daughter is like, she has the sugar monkey on her back big time, but that's never been something that I really needed. It's always been like, I hit a certain point and then I'm like, oh, I can't do it anymore. But like everybody, you know, sugar's addictive. So I definitely think I have been able to back off that. Also, just knowing what a contributing factor it was in my mom's death, that definitely hangs over me. So I'm not going to say I never eat sugar, but I'm much better at like, you know, I'd really just rather have a lot of fruit around, you know, that I can eat when I have that sweet craving. Like I have my Arbonne Fizzes, right? And those have organic cane sugar, just tiny, tiny amounts in them. So I have different outlets for that. Research is pretty set on the fact that it is not in any way good for you at all. So, you know, I'm worried about my daughter for sure, because she just mainlines that stuff. And from what I've heard and read, it just like any addiction, right? The more you have, the more you want. Like it dulls that craving. So.
Yeah, I've never had a sweet tooth. I mean, I certainly like sweet things, but I've like Tony, he is the candy monster.
Oh.
And especially like we're watching Netflix like 9:30 p.m. at night, and he bought a candy machine. It looks like a gumball machine, and it's a candy. He bought it for the grandkids.
Oh, please.
And every night I hear the ching ching ching. You don't have to put money in. You just turn the thing.
Oh, that's even worse.
It's zero barriers. And so I hear him ching ching. I'm thinking, okay, he's gonna come in with his jelly bellies any minute. Oh no, they're Mike and Ike's. Anyway, and I just am like, meh. But I tell you, put a basket or a box of donuts in front of me.
Oh, hell yeah. But the thing about
those
donuts
suckers
is
will be gone.
You have like 2 or 3 and it's like, oh God, afterwards, you know, like that's totally like we do donuts maybe once every 5-6 months maybe. And I'm always like, I'm good, you know, like it's great. Oh. And now my teeth hurt.
So as we wrap up this episode and as we wrap up 2025, we want all of you listeners to have all your dreams come true, all your goals accomplished, all those things that you want happen in your life. And if there's one thing I want y'all to leave this episode with, it is that midlife is the perfect time. Your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, beyond, is the perfect time for you to flip the scripts on all the BS we've been taught about what makes us valuable, what makes us worthy, what makes us beautiful. And you get to decide what the barometer is going to be for you. What about you, Lisa? What do you want listeners to walk away from this episode with?
Yeah, we're not mean girls in middle school anymore. Thank God. Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of riffing on that, it's the idea of wellness is bigger. It's much bigger than that narrow little definition we had ages ago, right? And I think it's real. I mean, yes, it's about making smart choices and, you know, not chain smoking all day long and, you know, drinking bourbon. But I mean, if that's how you want to go out, like you do you. But so there is that part of it. But I also think it's a bigger picture. Like, what do you want for yourself? Right? Like Karen said, like, I want to be strong enough to lift my grandbabies around. Like, I don't want to be like, you know, unable to do that. So that's kind of a goal for me. So when we think about goals and so-called resolutions, I really do think it's more about like, how do I more happily and easily live the life that I want to live? That's to me the place that I would hope that it's coming from. And if it's coming from, like I said, if you're in, and that's a gain kind of mentality, if you're in that gap mentality of like, oh, I need to lose this much weight and I need to do this thing and I need to do that. And we all do it. Like, let's be real. But if that becomes the norm, then I would just encourage you to take a pause and sit back and just do some thinking about whether or not that's really serving you if you are truly in that space 24/7, because that is not a healthy space to be in.
So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you being with us during this episode and during the past year. This year has flown by, and we are so honored that you have chosen us to spend some time with. And please like and share and leave that 5-star review and join the Pod Squad, because that's the easiest way for you to share all this goodness that you get here at Drinks with the Girls with your girlfriends.
Yes, please. And I would also like to add something to that list. Pretty please, could you send us some topics you'd like us to cover? You know, we always try to bring a fresh idea, even if it's something that we've talked about before, like we want to do a fresh take on it or part 2 or whatever. But we would love to hear some things that you guys want us to talk about or speak about. You know, we never claim to be the experts on anything, but I hope you have seen that we'll do our research about it. We'll bring our own little Drinks with the Girls flavor to it. But just tell us stuff that you think should be talked about, right? That is of interest to you, because we would love to be able to kind of bring that about.
Well, and this podcast is literally for you, our listeners. Like this, we want you to have a seat at the table with. We, like Lisa said, we're not the experts. We're not talking at you. We want to talk with you. And so we would love it if you could give us some ideas, some topics. The easiest way to do that is to reply to the email when you're on the Pod Squad. Or if you are not following us on Instagram, why aren't you? You can just hop in our DMs and say, hey, would you mind talking about whatever? And we would be happy to.
Yeah, I mean, we're really accessible, really in any place that you find like this idea comes to you. So anytime, shoot us a message. And yeah, I guess it's champagne toast to looking forward to 2026. So a very special cheers to everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.